official introduction. Stoney, 97.1 The Ticket. John Niyo from the Detroit News. I don't know. Where do you start with this thing?
Well,
I mean, yes, playoffs or 7-17 in September, the worst record ever for a team that qualified for the postseason. Stoney, you choose.
It's disgusting what happened to them, but I'm not going to sit there and hope that they lose. We saw what happened last year when they got hot, went into Houston and won 2 games. Obviously, they've had trouble with Cleveland, but they're all close games.
Yep.
They can win. But the big picture, Dan, is this was one of the biggest collapses I've ever seen in my life.
15.5 was the biggest for a team to catch up and overcome a deficit. 11 games in September.
Yeah.
It's almost stunning.
It is
to think of where they were
Yeah.
12 days ago.
Yeah, and to think of all the things that they gave up in the process. Yes, they got into the playoffs, but they gave up the bye that seemed really important for obvious reasons for most of August and September. They gave up home field, and today
did they kind of give it up a little easily?
It felt
today?
like they gave it up a little too easily, didn't they? I mean,
well, I mean,
starting last night, and I get it.
They weren't going to pitch scoop. But there was no Green,
so
no Tort, no Dingler, no Torres.
And the same, Cleveland was approaching it similarly where they were, and both teams celebrated with champagne.
Juan played.
Yeah, no, like the start, I'm talking pitching. You're lining up your pitching for the series, obviously. And they both celebrated with beer and champagne last night, so we can, understand why people were offended by that, but it's what you do when you make the playoffs.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Today they managed it like they didn't care about this game today, and maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe they really didn't want to go anywhere other than Cleveland.
I guess I would ask, and look, Cleveland won, so I guess maybe in the long run it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
But, I mean, is it really that taxing for those guys to play one more game and you got a day off tomorrow?
No, especially since they had a day off on Saturday, most of them, because they were celebrating making the playoffs. And John mentioned, in fact, they gave up so many things. Hey, but they didn't give up any prospects.
And I'll say this. I don't know what they were dealing with, because AJ Hinch alluded to some guys might be dealing with something physically. I mean, this is easy to sit on the sidelines and pick apart.
And beyond physically, mentally. Certainly, they were all dealing with something mentally. The Riley Greens, all those guys that were in the skids down the stretch.
Yeah. Let's get to that mental thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they've basically fallen apart. And I know Scott Harris, as you were just alluding to, is taking a lot of heat for what he did not do at the trade deadline. And these can be separate conversations, and both can be true. Their players didn't deliver. Their offense has disappeared in September, coinciding with this slide.
Correct. I mean, look, Scott Harris, you're right. Different conversation. He messed up. If he would have gotten a bat, Suarez did have, 9-10 home run, but he hit like 180 or whatever. So that's the one everybody wanted. The problem is it's mental. Their best, this isn't Scott Harris' fault, their best players, they were so happy that they had all those All-Stars, and those All-Stars did nothing the last month, 6 weeks, from Torres to Riley Green. Go down the line.
How many times did you see those guys come up with runners in scoring position and nothing would happen?
Yes.
And you take your cue from your stars. They lead the way. Hitting is contagious. Choose your cliche, whatever you want it to be. And they just didn't deliver. So, I mean, again, both things can be right.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All the more reason then probably should try to get home field today, shouldn't you? I mean, that's the thing. You're facing Cleveland one way or the other, you think, going into today. But wouldn't you rather be at home at Comerica Park than in Cleveland, where bad things have happened to you against this team in the playoffs? And, that's the part I do question. And look, again, like you said, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with some of those guys, but I don't know. How about a little effort, I guess?
Okay, so do we believe in fresh starts? Do we believe in, as of Tuesday, everybody is 0-0, and what you did in September doesn't necessarily matter, and you do have Tarek Skubal lined up to start?
Right. Hopefully he won't try to be a long snapper in this game and have a little mental breakdown with Balk, whatever, that he's himself, because except for that, he pitched really well. He's been pitching great. He's beaten them before. In big situations. He's lost to them before.
Lost to them in a big situation.
I mean, to be honest, that's the thing I feel like I have the most belief in going into this series is obviously Tarek Skubal, but really the starting pitching, because Casey we've seen pitch like a guy
Fleury's
he
been
wouldn't
okay
mind. And
lately.
Flaherty. So, I mean, that's, to me, the strength going into the series is, yes, you do have your pitching lined up, and the starting pitching, and then it's just cross your fingers with the
if you're
bullpen.
Riley Green or one of these other guys that has
Somebody,
struggled, I
yeah.
mean, whether it's Torque or it's Torres or it's Carpenter, whoever it is, you have a chance to rewrite much of
for
what
sure.
has been said
Yeah.
during this season. Because if you go out with a whimper, man, it's going to be a rough offseason. There's going to be a lot of questions asked about this team.
Yep.
And I know they're young, but they were in position. And it's very difficult to wrap your arms around a team that had the best record of baseball and the best record in the American League when they gave up the best record in baseball for a minute and then just fell apart at the end. And it's almost impossible to know what to expect over the next 3 days.
Which makes it fun.
Yes, and I'm usually someone on the negative side.
don't
I'll give
say
you a little positive thing.
I've met you.
Javi Baez had a hell of a weekend.
I know, yeah, he did.
On the field, hit a home run,
Yeah.
2 big hits the other night.
Big
so
diving catch.
That's
diving
catch.
catch.
That's great.
Runs.
Yeah.
Essentially saved them
season.
yesterday. Saved this
Because Houston
playoffs.
ended up winning.
Right.
They had the same record as Houston.
Yeah, right.
That 1-0 walk-off
No, and
win.
maybe those guys, maybe it's some of those veterans that, yes, definitely tailed off in the second half. Torres, Baez. Maybe some of those guys now, give you a lift here with those young guys struggling.
We hope.
Some of them have 2 days to exhale and
Yes,
then come
right.
back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, we will see what happens. I mean,
Or maybe it's Jahmai Jones. Maybe Jahmai Jones just keeps going all the way through.
Might be.
Yeah,
I mean,
something
look,
like
this
that.
it's really a strange position to be
Yeah.
in because of what's
It's hard to
behind them
feel
and
confident.
yet what's in front
It's
of them.
hard to feel confident in them. And to be honest, as we pointed out in innumerable ways, it's hard for them to be confident
haven't
too. And
won a
that's the
But
part.
it's also really hard to dismiss them.
Yeah,
Because anything
right.
can happen. And,
Yeah.
and
It's
to be honest,
baseball.
as good as they played,
And this
Cleveland
is
doesn't
the
scare
first,
the heck out of you.
and now this is the first time officially they're the underdog, and that's what they thrived on last year.
They've earned that.
Right.
They've earned that.
It is what Jared said. Just win, man. And then get back and figure it out. What'd you do right? What'd you do wrong? And the fact is, Cleveland drags you into an ugly brand of football with the way they play. And that defense is really, really good. And you had to grind this one out.
Yeah, but they managed to rush for over 100 yards against that
They did.
defense. They passed the ball efficiently when they had to. There was some, J-Mo had a bad game. But here's what's impressed me the most. The fact of the matter is that ugly, whatever word you want to use, I gave it a B-. They are such a good football team that they can play and still beat an NFL team by 24 points.
Well, and they can figure it out, John, with any of offense, defense, or special teams playing complementary football, and they all checked the boxes today for making winning plays in this game.
No, absolutely. They all made big splash plays. And the other stat that I think was most impressive to me is 0 sacks.
Zero.
Yes.
Again, 3 straight weeks now or whatever. And Myles Garrett is the best
Something
edge
else,
rusher.
man.
Yeah,
That
I mean
dude
he's
is something
the best
else.
player in the NFL. It feels like when you watch him play, and for Jared Goff to get out of this without getting sacked, to get out alive feels like a win. And the way that offensive line performed protecting him was good. He was good protecting himself too.
He's gotten a lot better.
I mean, this is
He's
now
maneuver.
3 or 4 games like this where you see 3 or 4 times each game him making a play with his feet to keep a play alive. But for me, then I guess the bad news. The injuries are the part that sort of leave me like, oh gosh.
DJ Reed, Terry
DJ
Arnold,
Reed,
you're now
I mean-
thinking about those corners and what's going on
Yeah, and
there.
it's, like you're already missing Davenport as a starter. Aleem McNeil's not back, so now DJ Reed's looked pretty significant
He looked like
today.
a better player than actually Carlton Davis was last
Oh,
year.
yeah. No, he's been great. He was great last week.
Yes.
Zay Flowers shut him down.
Yeah.
So now if he's out for an extended period of time, then it starts to feel like last year. I mean, it's week 4 and you're already down 3
Brad's
starters.
got to work those phones.
So, yeah, I mean, that's to me the takeaway, other than, yes, they grinded out a win today. They also took some casualties.
Yeah, Dan Campbell said afterwards that Arnold was not as significant
Yeah.
as Reed, but we'll have to wait and get a
Right.
further report on how long each of them will be out. We don't know the answer to that for sure.
And it could have been much worse. There was a time where when Joseph got hurt,
yeah.
and when Aiden got hurt
Right.
because he banged
Yeah.
his fist on the, and
Yeah.
usually that signifies
The
they know
whole
they're
the
hurt.
whole place
It could have been
hushed.
Yes.
They're showing fans like with their hands up because he's just writhing in the
Yeah.
backfield, and he was laughing about it after the game. He's like, I had the wind knocked out of me. I wanted to get
Yeah.
up because I knew everybody was freaking out, but I just couldn't get up. 'cause I
Yeah,
couldn't
TJ
breathe.
called that one of the booth, said he took a rib shot, and you could
Yeah,
kind of see
absolutely.
that, and it just took him a
So
second
he's
to
like,
get
I
his...
know people are having flashbacks, but yeah, to me, I'm starting to have flashbacks just in terms of the injuries.
Let me get to the offense for just a second. You mentioned the rushing game. I think, John, you made a great point there. The offensive line did a terrific job, and when there was any sort of breakdown, Jared Goff, so economical with his ability to take a couple of steps and still find a way to throw the football, get rid of it, or complete it.
Yeah.
And that's not easy when you got Myles Garrett in there. Malik Collins is playing great football.
Yeah, they got all over that defense. They've got good players, really good players. But yeah, he made that play early on that first long pass to St. Brown, running on the run,
play.
throwing on the run. Those are the plays, people say Jared Goff doesn't make. Well, he just made, he made them again tonight. And that connection with St. Brown, I mean, it's formality now, but he's good for 2. Yeah, it's like, I mean, he's on pace for whatever, 20-plus touchdowns
talks
this year.
About
because
you need the big, tall guy in the red zone, like Calvin and all that stuff. People say Tesla is great for the red zone. You cannot defend at St. Brown.
All right, when you get a Lions victory, that means a victorious locker room. That means Dan Campbell and the team. Here we go.
You don't take wins for granted. You don't take them. Not in this league, man. They're too hard to come by. All right, we had a big win the other night, short week. We had to get back, and we did what we had to do. All right, we did what we had to do. Now, it wasn't good enough, if I'm being totally honest with you. It wasn't good enough. There's so many areas where we shot ourselves in the foot, and we cannot do that, okay? I'm just being honest. Now, it's not going to ruin our Sunday or the rest of the week. I can promise you that. All right. But that's a damn good win. Proud of you guys for the win itself. All right. I got 2 game balls. All right. Number 1, on defense, 4 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, 1 forced fumble, 4 quarterback hits. All right. Aiden Hutchinson.
Appreciate it, man. Man, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Build on this. Great team win, guys. I'm blessed to be back. I'm blessed to be back with you boys. Let's just keep it up. Thanks, guys.
On special teams, all right, 5 punt returns, 76 yards. We had 1 65-yarder for a touchdown, 1 kickoff return, 30 yards, 106 total return yards. Mr. Khalif Raymond.
I just want to thank you guys, man. It was grimy out there. We've been chopping at the tree for the last 4 games, man. We finally caught one, but that's what it looked like when you put in work. So love y'all, man.
We will see you all tomorrow, man. Break it down.
Hey, bro, continue to chop wood, man. Continue to give it a y'all, man. That's who we are. That griminess, that's who we are. Stay like that. Keep that standard. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Fam. Good job.
That's a staple.
You can walk around that locker room and you can beg, you can pry. You won't find anybody say anything bad about Khalif Raymond.
No.
That dude is beloved in this organization, and for good reason. He's got a great story. He's fought like heck just to remain in the National Football League. Now he's got a role, and he's just a great quality dude.
The most reliable person in that locker. They'll all tell you that.
Coaches
everything about Jared
They love
Goff.
him on offense. They love him on teams.
Yeah.
I mean, and his versatility. And what you saw there on that punt, he's one of the fastest guys on this team.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Right. Yeah, all that talk about who's the number 3 receiver. Well, they had a number 3 receiver. They still do, and Khalif Raymond, who's really effective. They just like him on special teams so much.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about that locker room and what's going on. And Dan Campbell, look, he's great at setting the tone and telling them it was good, but not good enough.
It was a nice little baby present for his wife too, Julia, who's they're
really
due
cool.
here, next month.
And sending a text to her afterwards saying, "Hey, all 3 of us were there to share that because she is pregnant." Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's take a cruise around the Major League Baseball playoff picture. Let's start in the American League, where Toronto and Seattle earned byes. There you see the Tigers taking on the Guardians, and the Yankees and Red Sox will renew their rivalry with a first-round series. That will be in New York. Let's take a look at that. So Toronto and Seattle up top. The headline there is going to be Boston and the Yankees doing what they do and meeting in the playoffs again.
Of course.
Right.
Yes. TV loves that.
Yes, they do. And, they are usually pretty exciting, so I'm not going to poo-poo that. But if the Tigers win, it's Seattle.
On to Seattle.
A team that really, that was when the first signs of trouble happened, right before the All-Star break, because they came in here and swept the Tigers.
And they swept them, And that felt like a team that's just got a little sort of mojo going all year. I mean, with Cal Raleigh, obviously, it's an amazing
very
story.
Active at the break.
But they were active at the break, and that pitching,
that
pitching is really good. So that, to me, was my American League favorite, even though Toronto's the 1 seed.
Yeah, and Toronto and the Yankees went right down to the wire battling this thing out. And now, as we say, it starts over, but it's kind of interesting to see now, okay, how good is Toronto, how good is Seattle when you start getting into the next series? They have a little bit of time to wait, but Toronto's going to have their hands full because either Boston or New York is going to be coming in there to start that next series, and it will be interesting.
Yeah, and now that Toronto got Shane Bieber, their pitching has really improved a lot, and with Vlad and Bichette, they're really good.
Yeah.
A lot of it does, too, depend on, do you finish this in 2 like the Tigers did last year in Houston? That helps you with that pitching road because it is a quick turnaround. Then you're going to Seattle on Saturday for game 1 of the ALDS. If you've only had to use 2 of your starters, that does help. That helps. Certainly
Scuba
help.
probably wouldn't be able to pitch.
Wouldn't pitch game 1.
That would be
Yeah.
3 days, probably
Right.
game 2. Yeah.
It would be similar to what they did last year.
All right, National League playoff picture looks like this. Brewers, Phillies bye. How about Cincinnati
Look at those
coming
Reds.
off the pace to win a wild card spot? They're going to be in L.A. to face the Dodgers in a best-of-3 series starting Tuesday. Padres will be in Chicago to face the Cubs. Cincinnati's just with Ellie De La Cruz being able to be out there on a prime time. I'm sure baseball is loving that.
Yeah.
And loving that against the Dodgers. It's a nice little rivalry there, too, from back in the day.
Yeah, and they're the defending champs, although interesting, or maybe not, that Kershaw is not on the roster for the playoffs. He pitched today. But look, the Phillies and Brewers had obviously the 2 best teams, but in the playoffs, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, and that's where you question, okay, we've seen momentum carry into the playoffs. Does it carry on? Because it's the same question we're asking with the Tigers, but in reverse.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, if you were hot at the end, does that carry on? You look at the Phillies with a lineup that looks like it can just mash. And, you know, the Brewers have just been that team all season long with a mixture of pitching and hitting. But again, you now get into even a 5-game series or a 3-game series, which becomes interesting. It doesn't give you that, maybe the cushion that a 7-game series does.
And it also points out that the Mets gagged probably almost as much as the Tigers with a
Right down to the
payroll.
final
With
game
the
of the
payroll that
season.
was
With a
3
payroll,
times as
yes,
much.
you get Juan Soto, they have Alonso, and they can't beat them. They got shut out.
Juan Soto is a payroll unto himself for some teams.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
that's just the way it looks.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be fun. It's going to be unpredictable. I think the NL was the varsity and the AL felt like the varsity for much of the season. I still think that going into the playoffs, but who knows? Somebody gets hot, it could be changed.
So there was a lot of talk about Europe coming to the U.S. and taking the cup, and that's Rory said it 2 years ago. That's
we're
what
going to do it.
We're going to go to New York and we're going to win it.
Right.
And for the first 2 days, guys, that was ugly. And I'll be honest, when I looked at the European roster when they announced it, I looked at it and I said, they're going to kill them.
Yeah.
I mean, it really. And I look at it and I say, they're just better right now.
They are, yeah. It's not it's that old trope about it means more to them and they're a better team, more cohesive.
They're like the SEC.
All those things are often true, but yeah, this year coming in, they were better. They were also more experienced,
They were underdogs.
And
though.
they were underdogs, but that's because we look at the world rankings and just by rote. But yeah, no, that was the plan coming into this was we're going to bring back that same team that won 2 years ago in Rome, and it worked because that's what made such a difference those first 2 days.
We also look to some of the guys that have become fixtures for the United States, and we anticipate that they're going to deliver. But I mean, if you look at it, look, Justin Thomas won in April. Been 3 years since his last victory before that. Patrick Cantlay hasn't won since 2022. Yeah. Colin Morikawa, last win 2023, 1 win over the last 4 years. And Xander Schauffele was terrific last year. Dealt with an injury, coming back this year, and he was not the same player. So it was like some of the guys that you really felt like you needed to lean on for the United States just weren't there.
Right. Schefter wasn't really good until today. I mean, their best players arguably was Cameron Young.
Cam Young.
He grew up near Bethpage Black.
Set the course record there when he was 20. Yeah.
Yes. So he played there a lot. And a lot of people said that the course is actually more of a European-style course. Which, that's true. That's shame on the PGA.
Again, I think they botched some things. Keegan Bradley and the whole crew botched some things. The pairings made no sense, a couple of them in the foursomes. The course setup, it used to be always, no rough, we'll just bomb it. Well, that's kind of everybody now or whatever.
Right.
So, and it was way too soft with all the rain, and that played to the European strength because they're used to that on the European side. But look, it still comes down to you got to make putts.
Right.
And Euros made putts non-stop for 2 straight days.
And even yesterday.
Scotty Scheffler didn't play that bad, but he was just getting bombed by putts.
Even yesterday, the United States did not play bad. Europe was just ridiculous.
Yeah. And the crowd in New York, and people will
That was also
say
ridiculous,
it was New York.
right,
We don't know if
right.
everybody was from New York, but it was gross.
Yeah, it was
and some of the chants, some led by an MC at one point who stepped down. Just gross, not necessary. There was a time where there was I think a significant maybe dislike between some of the players. I don't think it's that way anymore.
No.
People like Rory McIlroy.
They all live here.
All the Europeans live here. They play golf at the same clubs together in Florida. No, that part, it did get ugly. But
it's
also
a
what we
self-fulfilling prophecy, which didn't need to happen.
No, it didn't. And then we sort of expect that because of New York.